the summertime, maybe forever, however long I can do this. But good morning. And I called the show The Great American Brain Drain because that is what's going to happen. Robert Hunzinger, who we all know as an environmental journalist for very long, for Counterpunch. He wrote an article, but I'm actually going to start with the video from Democracy Now! Because Amy Goodman had him on, which is great. And we're going to do that. We're going to talk about that. So let me say good morning. Oh my goodness. Oh, Kim's sleeping. Good morning, Mark. And good morning, Alex. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see you all. And wake up. Better wake up, Looney Tunes. I don't know. I don't know. But, and Linda, good morning. All right. So people are joining early, even though I changed it last minute. And it is what it is, right? So the American brain drain. We all know what's happening here in the United States. We know that this regime, if you want to call it this bunch of idiots, this cacistocracy they want to be involved in everything because they really want to use Project 2025 and destroy the academic systems in the United States. They probably would like everything to be like Liberty University. And maybe science will go away. I have no idea how things will ever progress in this country of the United States with academia being so interfered with. And you know Harvard, yeah, it's a private school, but it started with big time racism, getting rid of the president, Claudine Gay, I believe her name was, and the whole assault. I think the bottom line is rejection. I've read somewhere that Barron got rejected from the Ivy League schools. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about him. And yes, I understand that brains are more than welcome to come to Canada. We know this is what's going to happen. Definitely know this is what's going to happen. Because it's already happening. We've seen this already happening. Yeah. So I hope that you all enjoyed Friday night's show with Dr. Reese. I did. I enjoyed him very much, interviewing him, trying to weave in a little bit different than what he usually does. And it's, Dale, we need them. The amount of MAGAs here is disgusting. Yes, it's very sad. The hockey players then can come to the USA. Well, as you guys join, oh, look at that. I already see I have my obligatory thumbs down. That's great. You know, Linda, let's see. Linda, you're saying that 7 U.S. professors have come to U of Toronto since March, including the 3 fascism experts. Absolutely. We saw them talking about this on pretty much every lefty channel or centrist or whatever you want to call them channels. But Looney Tunes is awake. Welcome, Looney Tunes. You are here to moderate. This is great. So we're going to talk about the brain drain. And as you are joining, he says, Looney Tunes, you've been awake just eating my food. I haven't gone grocery shopping in weeks. I have actually, I was going to show you a picture of my refrigerator. It's completely empty. Oh, I have to go out, but yeah, I got my coffee. I got my coffee tongue. All right. It's really great to see you guys, but I do want to, oh, that's pretty funny. You know, I see the chat first. There's a little bit of a lag, but how would anyone notice a brain drain in the U.S.? I know, right? I'm telling you. It happened. It started happening. How long? And your people are recruiting medical personnel from the U.S. I believe it. Listen, I wish I could move. I do. Recently, I think about it, but where I am, I mean, I don't see how it can happen. I've had this discussion with my lovely spawn named Dawn, although she's talking about it in a different way, which is because I've been having such a hard time this year, particularly taking care of things and not being able to get stuff done the way I want to, or needing more help than usual. So she's like, well, why don't you move and blah, blah, blah. But I don't want to. I do not want to. Not really. Because I could sit back here and, just do my thing, right? I'm doing my thing. So let's start with this video because it's pretty good. And let me make sure I have it set up. Okay, we're going to start with this one first.
Democracy depends on...
All right, we got Amy. I don't know why this happens because I don't have my Stream Deck push button set up. So we're going to start with this and watch Robert talk about the article because I have the article. But rather than me read it, let's watch Robert. If you haven't seen Robert Hunziker on Democracy Now!, well, we're going to watch it now. It's a little long, but it's a great way to start the show, and it gives me a little bit of sit back because actually I have but well, what else is new? Neck pain, back pain, whatever. Wendy! Good morning, Wendy. Oh my gosh, she doesn't. This is so great to see you. Wendy, Wendy, Wendy. So great to see you. Yes, it's great to see all of you. So let's sit back and really watch this. Don't you think I wish? Oh boy. Let's just bring it down so Buffalo's part of Canada. And when we go over the Peace Bridge, we're already in Canada, but that's not going to happen. All right. I got up at 7:30 this morning, and I have to tell you, it was very sunny and it was beautiful. And I've been talking to people about changing the time to be earlier so that because people have a life, I may not have one, but others do. So 11 a.m. is kind of, in the summertime when we're supposed to have nice weather, although it was beautiful when I got up. And of course, it's going to rain again, it seems like. It's just insane. All right, as you're joining, let's go. Yes, I know. Canada, strong, world class. We love Canada because, Canada is a class act of a country. But let's watch this. Let's watch it. Okay, we're going.
Democracy depends on a free press. Please support
our
independent journalism at democracynow.org/give. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. As the Trump administration slashes spending on health care and scientific research, we end today's show looking at the long-term impacts of Trump's anti-science agenda as scientists look to take their research overseas. For more, we're joined by Robert Hunziker, environmental journalist whose new piece for Dissident Voices headlined America's Great Brain Drain. Explain exactly what this is, Robert. Thanks for being with us.
Well, it's just what it says it is. The Trump administration is chasing our scientists out of the country across the board, whether it's in the entire apparatus of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, or if it's in the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, it doesn't matter. They're firing people, they're moving them to lesser positions, or moving them from, say, Baltimore to a remote location in Idaho so that they won't appreciate their job any longer. And we're having a massive drain of really the smartest, brightest people that we need to confront health problems in this country.
And they're Robert Hunziker, Robert, in your article, you mentioned that at the same time that the federal government is cutting funding for science, the European Union, Canada, Australia are increasing the amount of money that they're devoting to scientific research to actually lure American scientists to those countries. Can you talk about that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. President Ursula von der Leyen of the EU has dedicated another $500 million to their research agencies to bring specifically U.S. scientists, educators, and academics to the EU. President Macron of France has done the same thing, specifically to bring U.S. scientists to France. And now Germany's doing it, and now Spain has jumped on the bandwagon, and now China is doing the same thing. And they're saying for any Chinese-born or Chinese-American scientists, we're opening up an avenue for you, and we're going to provide grants and pay for you to come. So we're draining our scientific talent, and it's on the way out. You know, Nature, which is the leading journal for science in this country, did just a random poll of 1,600 respondents, and 75% of them said, we're looking to go overseas now. So we're draining one of the most valuable assets we've got in the country.
And what's the long-term impact of this brain drain? What will it be for the United States?
Well, it's going to be very, very serious when it comes to the healthcare area. If you look, for example, at the, but let me give you an example of a massive misallocation of resources. And I think this is a point I really want to make. If you look at the HHS, which is the Health and Human Services Department, run by Kennedy, $1.8 trillion budget. Within that, you've got Medicare, Medicaid, those kind of things. And there's some other agencies as well that are crucial to the health of this country. For example, the FDA, the Center for Disease Control, and the NIH, National Institutes of Health. Those agencies essentially are the Department of Defense for the interior of this country. They really are. They prevent epidemics or stop them once they come. They are the Department of Defense for the interior of the country, much as the Pentagon is the Department of Defense to protect enemies from raiding our country. Well, we haven't had an invasion since Pearl Harbor, and they're getting $850 billion for the Pentagon. And they want to add $100 billion, Trump does, to that. Meanwhile, let's go over and look on the interior side of defense. And what's happened here is you had 103 million people that were infected 5 years ago with COVID, and 1.2 million of those people died. But guess what? There's a miracle that happened, and that's this. The NIH, and their budget's being cut 40% by Trump, by the way. The NIH brought a vaccine within 1 year. That had never happened before. The fastest vaccine had ever been brought to this country previously was in the 1960s for mumps, and it took 4 years. So you want to cut the agency that saved literally millions of lives by bringing this vaccine within a record time of 1 year. You want to cut them by 40%. And you're thinking about maybe adding another $100 billion to an $850 billion budget where we haven't had one enemy attack to this country since Pearl Harbor. I think that, you know, this is like going down the rabbit hole and having lunch with the Mad Hatter. That's how insane this has become.
Let me ask you, Robert, the Trump administration charged the highly skilled Harvard scientist, Ksenia Petrova, with criminal felony smuggling charges for failing to declare frog samples when she returned to the U.S. in February, usually seen as a minor infraction. She has been detained in an ICE jail in Louisiana and says she faces political persecution if deported to Russia over protests against the invasion of Ukraine. Her Her work could lead to major advances in early cancer detection. If you can talk about what message is being sent by Ksenia's detention, the message to scientists, the students that are being detained around the country, the message to international students coming here that they might not only be deported, but imprisoned.
Yeah, well, it's a pretty horrible message, isn't it? I mean, that's the only way to look at it. And it's really, I guess you just got to say we're at the point where this is kind of the epitome of fascism. You know, you look at Huxley's Brave New World, and I'll just read a quickie sentence. But truth's a menace. Science is a public danger. Science is a public danger. Science is a public danger because it seeks the truth. And here's an administration that can't handle seeking the truth. And the circumstance you just talked about is all about that, isn't it?
And your sense, your advice to scientists who are now facing the recruitment efforts of Europe and Canada and Australia and versus the cuts of the Trump administration?
Well, I don't think they have any choice. They've got to take these grants. Their current positions are being demolished. When you take a 40% haircut for the National Institutes of Health, which is the crown jewel of biomedical research in the United States, it's the crown jewel. The crown jewel. 99% of the drugs that are approved by the FDA come directly as a result of the National Institutes of Health. And we have fired thousands of scientists there already, demoted the key people. They're going to head out and go to Europe. You know, if we had a pandemic tomorrow, think of the issue we'd be in. And there's some of the fired employees who remain anonymous have said, if we have another pandemic, we're screwed.
And not to mention Russia, China, I think Australia talked about the Great America brain drain as the Great America brain gain for other countries.
And that's exactly what it is. It's a brain gain for China, for Spain, for France, for Germany, on and go. Oh, and Canada too. And by the way, also Australia. So they're all jumping on the bandwagon. And I guess we'll just have a dumbed down society. That's where we're headed. And I'm not so sure, but with certain segments of it aren't already right there already.
I want to thank you so much for being with us, Robert Hunsaker. We are going to link to your piece for Dissident Voice, America's Great Brain Drain.
Okay. So what he said was prescient. It was important. It was true, you know? And when he talked about the next pandemic, the next thing happening, as you all know, was just sick. I've been on and off sick since November, things happening. But this last one, I tested negative for COVID twice. I had one of those flu A and B tests, negative for that. I don't know what was wrong with me, but I had a fever for 3 days on and off, and then the body pain was excruciating. I mean, I honestly thought I was going to die this time. You know, this was a bad one. I don't know what it was. Never got a sore throat. Maybe I had some, nose stuff, but it was kind of like allergy. I don't know, but it was bad. And it makes you not want to go anywhere. And then if you wear a mask, people just stare at me. But I figure, you know what? If I do wear a mask when there's a lot of people, they look at the gray hair. What are they going to say to me? I'm a tough one. You say something to me and you're fucked because I'm not going to take it. Okay. But I don't want to get sick. I don't want to get sick again. It's like, I don't even know how I got it. So all of us have to think about this, especially of a certain age. But he's right. Now, of course, he's talking about the NIH and he's talking about brain worms himself, who, how many times have I said this? That he's talking about taking red dye out of the food. Fine, great, okay. But yet the EPA is going to roll back regulations on the chemical industry. And I made a video called Gutting the EPA. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It was short, but it was Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, grilling that clueless moron, Lee Zeldin from Long Island, who is really just a Trump ass-licking toady, and who is heading the gutting of the EPA. And they're saying that it's, we're just getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse, which is, in my opinion, Trump's golf games are waste, fraud, and abuse. Everything that the orange turd does is waste, fraud, and abuse. So let's change to the screen. Let's change to the screen share and pull up some things, which I actually want to show you. This was his article, and America's Great Brain Drain. It was from May 9th. And of course, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he said, America's shores are experiencing a huge sucking sound. I don't even have a sucking sound on my sound effects, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So we just saw that. So I'm more concerned, of course, I'm concerned about the NIH. It's wrong. I'm concerned about all of it. I really am concerned about all of it. But I'm also concerned about the NOAA and the National Weather Service. And we've had in the United States, I track the weather all over the world, but in the United States, we've had these tornado outbreaks all over that have caused catastrophic damage to people, killed people, as they are cutting these services, which I just don't get it. I don't get it. But of course I get it. These people are fascists. The money that they say they are saving is such a lie. Where is it going? What money? And you know something else? I'm going to tell you. Why are we paying federal taxes? That is a show I'm going to do. Why are we paying federal taxes when we are going to lose so much, and we are losing so much? Anyway, here's the National Weather Service, and here's more. Flood watch, tornadoes, it's just storm threats. It's awful. It's really awful. We need these services. Yeah, exactly. Wait a minute. Where's that one? New MAGA movie. Back to the Past, right? Holy shit. It's just awful. But these are the things that we have now. But things are changing. I don't know if you know this, but there's a web unification project happening. And now it's got NASA up here, but this is all Earth Science Data Systems, ESDS program web properties will be consolidated into the Earth Data website by the end of 2026. What do you think it means, really, when you think about it? What does it mean? Just shove all this information where it's mostly non-accessible to people? So this is the introduction. The Web Unification Project is driven by the 21st Century Integrated Digital Experience Act. Now, it was signed into law in 2018, but it wasn't done. It requires all agencies in the executive branch to ensure their websites are compliant with Section 508 of the Rehab Act of 73, have a consistent look and feel. Now, remember, 2018 was during the first Orange Turd administration. This motivation was followed up with a mandate from the NASA Earth Science Data Systems program executive to unify all ESDS-funded public-facing web properties into the Earth data domain. So we don't know. Improved discoverability. What do you think? I don't know. Let's click it. Does it show us? Oh, that's just the big picture. Okay, let me unclick that. Now I got to find it to unclick it, which means I have to find the X, which I don't know where it is. All right. All right. Let me get back to where we were because I don't want shit. I just lost it. Say it's Sunday morning, it's too early. But anyway, this is just one part, the advanced microwave scanning radiometer. All right. So they're talking about your gateway to NASA Earth observational data, and they want to put it all in one place. And here we are, all in one place. There's an Earth science data roundup, applying AI. Ugh. That's a whole show in and of itself. Iceberg A23A sheds a piece. So there's a sea surface salinity news. Right now, there's a lot of stuff in here. Let's go back and see if I can find the page that I screwed up. Yay. I can't believe that I lost it. I'm not happy that I lost it. Well, anyway, you get the drill, the drift, or whatever you want to call it. Let's see. We have news. Let's see what's the latest news. Chlorophyll concentrations in the Great Salt Lake. So far, there's some things here. There are things here. Well, how long? How long? You know how important it is for us to have this information. And well, who can believe the websites? Hang on a second. Let me see if I can re-pull up the... Who can believe the websites? Yeah, right? We don't know. I don't want to be paranoid. You know, you have to hope that there's still some people with honesty involved in the United States government that are not going to leave us. All right? Now, I want to show you something that Weather West is doing. This is Daniel Swain. He's got his Weather West channel, 167 videos. He does shows. He is a PhD in Southern California climate scientist, and I believe was a meteorologist. They are doing there's a lot of people. They have this new channel, and it's called the Weather and Climate Live Stream. More about this channel. They are going to be doing this whole big thing. And I don't know, that's not it. They're going to be doing this whole big thing next week where there's going to be many, many speakers. And what they want to do is try to appeal to the American people that this is not okay. It is not okay to take away all this stuff. So they created this. Please subscribe. Right now, it's only got 76 subscribers, but this is going to be a place for very important meteorological and climate information to be found. Oh, that was something else. So there will be more on this. I think it's very important to participate. Daniel, I'm pretty sure I put him on my calendar. On the 31st, Daniel's going to be on at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, and I will have all the information on who else is going to join as they unfold this most meaningful, in my opinion, project, because it is. It is. All right, so that's that, what I wanted to go through. All right. I want to talk to you really quickly about my channel, this channel. Yeah, this channel. I'm going to show you something about YouTube and making money, because we are a gig economy. We donate to each other. I donate to other channels when I can, and they donate to me, and I have members. But I want to show you. I'm showing you this because I can't earn anything much on YouTube. And this is very telling because, well, everything is limited. They don't want to share information. Even ecologist William Reese. And I changed the thumbnail. And then here's the radical right, cataclysmic birthday, 1932. Even even the show on the bonus army was limited. And it seems to me that, well, first of all, YouTube hates me. They don't like the algorithm. I haven't asked for reviews for all of them because it's a pain. But I did ask for a review on William Rees. He's a scientist. But you know what the word is? It's oh, I can. Oh, okay. I'll turn this off. I didn't know that. All right, I didn't know it, so I took it off. Let me see. Careful. YouTube will give you a strike for showing parts of studio on the screen. Did not know that, but it's off. Anyway, it was short enough, and if I have to, I'll get rid of it. But so I'm just telling you guys, climate and science really is being attacked. And even if I try. Now I have to think of my thumbnails. What do I call them? Puppies and kitties? Puppies and kitties? Hey, meow, puppies and kitties. What do I do? I cover controversial issues. So do a lot of other people. But to run this channel, and I'm a broke joke, my house is falling apart, it helps to be able to do this. I never really wanted to. Wait, YouTube. Yes, it does. They hate me, all right? They do. They really don't like our channel. And it's because I am, again, showing things that others may not. And the others that do, well, I don't know. I've never asked anybody else. How does YouTube do this? You're supposed to assess yourself. And I always say that there's sensitive subjects or controversial issues. But quite frankly, even though Dr. Rees was talking about overpopulation, he is a scientist. He's the father of the ecological footprint, for gosh sakes, and they're going to limit that. They're limiting everything. You can't even if I put climate crisis or climate change into the thumbnail, odds are this is going to happen no matter what I talk about. So I'm interested in let's see, Morgan. Well, we are on Facebook. And Facebook hasn't given me too many problems, but I don't have anybody over there. I opened a Substack, but I'm not sure. I'm still researching Substack. Used to go on Twitch. I don't have enough time. I'm one person. Now the sun was out, so I need to, I've been on there for a long time. We've been there 8 years, maybe going on 9. We have 20,000+ followers on the page, and Jonathan O is the editor and populates the page, and people go, not a lot anymore, but they do. They go there. Anyway, I'm going to move on. I'm going to stop whining about all this. It's just tough for everyone. It's tough. And we knew it was going to get tougher with the problem of mass layoffs. I mean, who can afford to support anyone really online? I appreciate, and I'll say it, I appreciate the members, and I don't do enough member content. And I appreciate my Buy Me a Coffee folks. It's been a real help to be able to have the programs. Yeah, I am definitely an industrial techno video online person, right? Obviously. Okay. So now we are, well, you might be right, Ernie. Is it YouTube where people just don't want to hear about the mess we're making? No, it's my channel. Because I look at other people's channels, or it's me. I look at other people's channels and they're getting the views. They're getting out. I don't know if it's who they are or if it is what they put in their thumbnails. I'll do that analysis. Hey, it could be me. I'm not your everyday person that I don't replicate anybody else. I have education. I have all of the cred. whatever you want to call that. I worked in research, but I was an administrator, but I worked with principal investigators. I'm a higher ed person, but it doesn't really matter. The point is that I don't think I think because of the fact that they limit and don't like my own assessment of what I do, there's algorithms we don't get out. We obviously. I don't play the game, I suppose. I don't put ads on when I'm live because I think it's obnoxious. I tried it. I experimented. I don't think you guys have to do that, have to sit through live ads playing. So now I'm going to move over, though. Enough whining, enough about the channel and the money. Whoop, wait, here we go. Matt, the algorithm wants drama and controversy, but a lot of lefty channels have been drained up to 50% of the views. Whew. Yeah, this country. And if the YouTube executives aren't getting pressure, I would be shocked. If this fascist administration is pressuring the universities, they're pressuring the networks, what do you think? They're not pressuring YouTube? Should we all go on Rumble? Which I did try, actually. But Rumble's a bit scary. I decided to get off of Rumble because I really didn't want some whack job to trace me and have to defend myself. Because yeah. Well, yes, okay. Yes, it is, of course. That's why I love all of you guys. I mean, I think we have an amazing variety of wonderful people that are here that follow this channel. And you'll come back because we're going to do a State of the Planet also. I've talked to Jim about coming back with me. We're trying to figure out what to cover that we haven't covered. We've covered a lot, especially there's another paper about AMOC that it's not the top echelon issue of all the issues, but it's an issue. If you get what I mean? We don't all have to be worrying tomorrow that we are going to be freezing to death with mounds of snow and ice in a library in New York City. But, Matt's a plethora of help today. Even consistent quality content is getting less attention. It could be people don't want to watch politics and gloom and doom, but that is an ebb and flow dynamic. But the algorithm is worse than ever. Well, Matt, I know because you study this stuff. I don't even look at the analytics. It was just that the reason why I actually looked at that was I got an email from YouTube, or it was a message in the app to look. And that's why I looked, but I didn't know I shouldn't show anything. I just wanted to. I could have made a graphic, I suppose, just to show you that I don't make any money. All right, we'll give the fact that I don't make any money. We'll give that an applause. All right. No, actually, I think we're going to give it a flush too. Who needs money? I only got to pay for this stuff. And trust me, since this administration has taken hold, there's a lot of times, and especially not feeling well, that I have felt like saying, I don't want to do this. I'm done. But anyway, I do have, actually, you know what, guys? Before I go to Rick Toman and we go to Alaska, which we're going to go, I want to do the snow and ice update. Before we do that, I actually want to show you one more video, so you don't have to listen.
Democracy depends on a free press.
You don't have to listen to me rant, but we're going to do this one because this actually does.
For many people, Memorial Day.
This is another one. This goes into the NOAA. So Robert was talking about the NIH. He's talking about the brain drain, but I want to show you this one, and then we're going to go talk about it, and we're going to go to Alaska and see what's going on in Alaska with Rick Toman. I enjoy his page, and I'd like to bring him on as a guest. Okay, here we go. This one it's long also, but they're both very valuable.
Weekend is the unofficial start of summer, but along the Atlantic and Gulf coasts, it also means the start of hurricane season is nearly here too. And this particular hurricane season comes at a moment when NOAA and its agencies are being cut and facing their own turmoil. Science correspondent Miles O'Brien has the story.
Nearly 20 years after Hurricane Katrina ravaged the Gulf Coast, federal officials came to Gretna, Louisiana, to predict the U.S. is on the cusp of another above-normal hurricane season. Between 13 and 19 named storms, 6 to 10 hurricanes, 3 to 5 of them major. National Weather Service Director Ken Graham did not utter the word climate, now scrubbed from the federal lexicon, and yet still made clear the main culprit.
When you have a planet that's warmer, you look at the ocean temperatures could be impacted by that. Warm sea surface temperatures probably the number one contributor to the whole thing.
A lot has changed since Katrina. Forecasters now issue an outlook for global tropical storms 3 weeks in advance. Hurricane Hunter aircraft are flying with new experimental radars able to collect data on the ocean waves and the wind. And there are improved models for predicting precipitation and the rapid intensification of storms.
The modeling has never been better. Our service has never been better. Our ability to serve this country has never been better, and it will be this season as well.
And yet, the Weather Service and its parent organization, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, are facing an uncertain financial forecast. The Trump Federal Spending Overview, known as the Skinny Budget, released by the White House on May 2nd, calls for a 24% cut to NOAA's budget. The Department of Government Efficiency terminated more than 800 NOAA employees, raising concerns about the frequency of essential forecasting tasks like launching weather balloons. And the science budget is hit even harder. Trump proposes a 74% cut to the Office of Oceanic Research.
I think these numbers are very difficult to believe, frankly.
Glaciologist and former NASA chief scientist Waleed Abdelati is the director of the Cooperative Institute for Research in Environmental Sciences, CERES, a joint venture between NOAA and the University of Colorado Boulder.
It's important to study climate change because it is a big driver of our environment. The environment in which we live now, the environment in which we're going to live a year from now and 10 years from now. And understanding that enables us to anticipate what the future may look like. If some challenges are coming, how do we head them off?
At first, the Trump budget sought to eliminate all funding for climate, weather, and ocean laboratories and cooperative institutes housed
and PBS and NPR
primarily at major research universities. CERES and 15 other cooperative institutes are strategically distributed across the country. Collectively, they explore climate, weather, oceans, coasts, air quality, water resources, and disaster resilience.
All the good stuff that we love to cover on this channel.
The Cooperative Institute at the University of Miami is deploying drones and remote research vessels to improve hurricane forecasts. In Boulder, Waleed Abdelati showed me some of the tools they have developed to predict how fires behave.
But this is derived from satellite observations. Coupling this with information on the ground, drought information, how much fuel is there for a fire, to really get at the dynamics and the ultimate implications.
Certainly there are many places like Park City.
That's what this team of CERES scientists is focused on. They manage the Western Water Assessment, one of 13 NOAA-funded teams across the country focused on climate adaptation. They work closely with small agricultural and ranching communities, trying to cope with worsening drought conditions fueled by rising temperatures. Bené Duncan is the managing director.
Looking at things like how drought is changing, it's getting bigger, it's getting drier, it's coming on more quickly, trying to understand how we can better predict that, which is so important for things like agriculture, farming and ranching, figuring out what to plant, when.
This was among 13 NOAA climate adaptation teams. At least one has closed, and there are concerns that others may as well. What would you do if it ended?
If it ended, I don't know. I was one of the people who hoped to retire here at Ceres with Western Water Assessment. Like I really, it's my passion and I love it. And so if it ends, I'm gonna kind of have to restart and figure out what that means.
It's worse in parts of western Colorado now.
Her colleague, hydrologist Nels Bjarke, is a newly minted PhD, now eyeing greener scientific pastures.
If I lost this job, it is unlikely that I would re-enter the workforce here in the U.S. I probably would move to Australia. There are plenty of positions I would be qualified to do, and it is much less adversarial.
When we visited, layoffs were imminent. However, after the universities and members of Congress raised serious concerns, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick approved funding requests for Ceres and a few other cooperative institutes that were on the brink. But the extent and duration of the reprieve are uncertain, and uncertainty is something NOAA is chartered to fight. Despite all of this, Ken Graham offered some assurances.
And we had some folks go, and but we're going to make sure that we have everything that we have on the front lines. Every warning is going to go out.
But the most important warning may be coming from scientists now sidelined, who were doing the work that makes the forecasts better. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Miles O'Brien in Boulder.
So there you go. Hi, Karen. Sorry, I changed the time to 10 a.m. Eastern. I sent out an email, but I was really it was a last minute thing. Okay, so we're seeing what's happening. Robert Hunziker talking about the NIH. We're looking at the brain drain of NOAA and the National Weather Service, and it's going to be a banner hurricane season. And we all do have our thoughts and prayers that Mar-a-Lago is in the way. Yeah. It's terrible to think like that. My gosh. All right. Well, we'll be sticking with these people and watching what's going on as this all unfolds right here on Environmental Coffee House. And there are others. You know who they are. Of course, Paul Beckwith. Absolutely. All right, let me move over. I want to move over to this. Let's talk about Alaska, and then we'll talk to you guys. Now that that was a pretty good piece. I don't know about PBS, who's going to fund it, how it's going to be funded, but they do good pieces, and especially the climate pieces they cover. They're probably not monetized on YouTube. All right. So Rick, he's Alaska and Arctic climate specialist, 40 years experience as a professional in weather climate. He's currently with the Alaska Center for Climate Assessment and Policy, International Arctic Research Center at the University of Alaska Fairbanks. But Rick, for how long? So he's got a lot of experience. So is he going to have to retire out? But he can continue, if he's not going to stay there, to write so we can understand what's going on. If he has access to Jim Massa, Science Talk with Jim Massa. Yes, he's got a great channel. You can watch him. He has got a new video out right now. All right, Arctic sea ice. So after unusually limited loss of sea ice melt in April, and he wrote back about it, the Arctic sea ice decline has been fairly typical the first 3 weeks of May. So he goes down and he shows the graphs and the graphics that he is able to get because of these organizations. And by virtue of that fact that we are able to get and look at, and that other climate channels are able to get and look at and interpret. And you have a plethora of channels to go to get this stuff interpreted. Paul does a fabulous job. So there's, but see, he says currently there's much more open water in both the Kara and Laptev seas than usual for this point in the season. The Kara sea ice extent is the second lowest in the satellite record. Only 2020 was lower, and the Laptev sea ice is the lowest on record for the date. So these are important things for everyone to understand. Now, geopolitically, they're just chomping at the bit, obviously. And that's where the I Love CO2 campaign comes in from the fossil fuel industry. They love this shit. They know everything's going. They know the catastrophes that are going to happen. These countries, they know, but that's why they're having resource wars. So here's the larger picture so you can see the sea ice concentration. That was May 23rd. This is the I showed you earlier, the AMS R2. And look at this. There's some, there's not, but it's definitely open, more open. And that was what he was explaining, that it's more open. I would really like to have him as a guest. I'm going to write to him, make sure. I'm sure I have. That's the thing. I'm a procrastinator and I don't follow up well. I need a secretary. Arctic snow cover. The loss of snow cover is important event in the higher latitude seasonal cycle because the presence or absence of snow has important ecological, hydrological, and weather climate consequences. Beautifully said. That's it. The U.S. National Ice Center prepares a daily pan-Arctic analysis of the snow and ice extent, and he provides more details on the NIC analysis in the post. Importantly, this is a categorical or a categorical analysis. Is there snow on the land? Yes or no? And is there ice on the water, on the ocean, or on the freshwater lakes? Yes or no? But the loss of snow since the beginning of May, it's apparent around the Arctic, but especially across Eurasia. Changes in sea ice can also be seen, but are not as dramatic. What country will, if this doesn't happen in Alaska, who's going to do this? Will it go to Russia? I mean, because they have a vested interest, obviously, in the Arctic and shipping and geopolitical machinations of games, that they play, all of these countries with their wars. And I could do Dolores, wars and their bombs and their bombs and their bombs. So he's showing snow and ice extent. But basically, he does a decent wrap-up, I think. The high-resolution snow and ice extent analysis started in 2004, and I could probably add ends in 2025 in the United States. So we don't have a full 30-year climate baseline, which we may never have. We do have the most recent 21 years available for comparison, which is very important. Snow, ice, land, water, no data. Very small area of no data. There's data everywhere. And it's cool as hell. Okay, so figure 3 shows where snow and ice extent on May 23rd was different from 2004 to 2024 median category. Several features stand out. A large portion of eastern Siberia has bare ground when typically there would still be snow. Much of this area is in the vast Republic of Sakha, Russia, which has experienced several years with extremely large wildfires in the past decade. Parts of the Nordic Arctic also show an early loss of snow. In North America, the northern limit of lower elevation snowmelt is consistently south of the 2004 to 24 median from the west of Hudson Bay, northwest to the south slopes of the Alaska Brooks Range and to the right of the Chukchi Sea. So the difference. There is, see here? Wow. This is where the difference is in this yellow. But this is so important. How many people in the United States, if you walked up to them and just said on the street, if you ever watch the late night comedians, they will do the man on the street thing. How many people would even understand? And this is where education comes in, how important it is to understand that this is happening. The ice is melting, the permafrost is thawing, and people need to understand the ramifications, but it's so sad that in the United States, none of this is important except to the oligarchs, so they can figure out how to profit by the mass rape and pillaging of the land that's left. And the United States is now going to lead the way, I suppose. Alaska and vicinity snow cover. The same data is presented here, just with a closer view of Northwest North America and the Russian far northeast. Low elevation snow cover is about gone in Alaska and the Yukon Territory south of about 67 degrees north, except on the northern Seward Peninsula and the St. Lawrence Island, where those marine-dominated climates always hold on to spring snow cover later than the inland areas at the same latitude. Whew. Except, right? So let's look at this one. It's pretty cool. Land, snow and ice extent. So that's like, how far is the extent? How is it extending? Where is it? Yellowknife. I saw a show on Yellowknife and Whitehorse actually the other day. It was one of those true crime shows, and it happened in the whole thing happened in Yellowknife. Yes, true crime. Just what I need to do is watch something horrible at midnight back here. So May 23rd difference from the 21-year median is shown here. The belt of late-lasting snow across the south slopes of the Brooks Range becomes more prominent in the northern Yukon Territory. Sounds so romantic, doesn't it? The northern Yukon. And the Northwest Territories northwest of Yellowknife. There are also indications, the purple speckles, that snow is present later this year than typically the case at moderate elevation. See, that's really cool stuff to know, and the scientists are going busy, talking about, well, why is it now here but not there? I mean, in layman's terms, right? There are also indications that purple speckle. All right. This is confirmed in some areas. The Yukon Tanana uplands of east of Fairbanks by in situ observations. Very cool. All right. So you get the drift. He just goes through and he's telling us all about what's happening up there, but I like his newsletter a lot. In the ocean, the ice south of St. Lawrence Island shows up as atypical. He just gives you an analysis, and he's not telling you what to think necessarily. He's not. And that's what I like about Rick Toman. But, you know, Jennifer and I used to do our shows on this data. It's important. I don't know why people don't understand how important the Arctic is, but it is. And the circus that's ensuing between the Arctic powers and NATO and geopolitics and shipping and all of it, there's a lot there. I mean, I can go A, B, C, D, E, F, G down the list and have one show on each topic. But today I'm ending with the last why. And I'm going to end with this poem, Climate Breakdown. And I don't know, maybe I'll put a little music on. What do you think? Something really nice. I didn't even put any thought into this of what kind of something I could pick, because I have a million songs, obviously. Ghost stories? How does this sound? All right. It's not really a ghost story. Hi to Big Cat. No, we're changing it. Here we go. That's what I like about Sundays. I can just whatever, and you go through it with me. It's not formal. I don't want to make any mistakes when I'm interviewing people. Climate breakdown. The climate's breakdown is so fast. The way we live, it may not last. The scientific body fears beyond the 20-30 years. We're burning fuel for energy to power an economy. We seem unable yet to learn. When we set fires, it's us we burn. We're dying of increasing heat that kills us and the food we eat directly, and too bakes the land, diminishing our room to stand. That rising seas also decrease as melting ice caps all release more water than returns as snow. What's more, there is decreasing flow from glaciers on mountain tops, and where flows end, life clearly stops. In ages past, to stay alive, we'd migrate, but now we'd arrive at places where there's simply only doom because there's simply no more room. Increasing heat evaporates, more water so precipitates. Amounts of rain beyond belief, the dried out land can bring relief. The floods that are the consequence cause death and damage beyond sense. Heat also melts the permafrost, releasing plagues that were long lost, and methane gas, which kills as well, by making Earth a deadly hell, by raising our Earth's temperature beyond which life can endure. As heat is killing food we plant, it heats the oceans so they can't breathe life into marine supplies on which humanity relies. It's heat that science also blames for turning forests into flames that burn Earth's lungs and also leave her breath impossible to breathe. With heat and drought, our deaths add up by flooding on an empty cup caused by death that fills the sky. We hear our mother's plaintive cry of mourning, for the view is stark, we're floundering and there's no ark. Heat is enough to spell our doom, however, there's still lots of room. I like that one. For one, our population size that's growing larger every day, despite two facts, there's no way our mother's feeding can keep pace. We can fit into shrinking space, though when we die is surely moot, it could well be by overshoot. As our activity increased, biodiversity decreased. Right from the massive redwood trees down to our pollinating bees, we're up to 70%. Exterminated with intent. Our plastic is another curse that makes the breakdown even worse. We see the mountain of it grow. Investigations of it show. It's so perverse in our earth it can be found in afterbirth. There's also our economy creating inequality. Religious and philosophies, which almost everyone believes, are all essential to our life, yet clearly cause increasing strife. And when they're added, heat and hate, the breakdown, they accelerate. Then, too, there's what we do to eat. We cut down the trees to raise our meat, so every piece of beef we choose, some more of nature's lungs we lose. Elsewhere are jungles that we spoil to grow, just palm trees for their oil. To make plants grow, we fertilize, despite the fact we realize when there's runoff into the sea, it makes dead zones where life can't be. But even where life could be seen, ships hauling dragnets strip it clean. Last but not least are warehouse farms that cause environmental harms beyond what have to be insane. Conditions that are inhumane. We put in cages, pens, and nets our animals that could be pets, give water and food we could eat, so we can turn them into meat. Now, if you think this isn't fact because the sky appears intact, just take a moment, look around. You see that we're losing ground. Not only that on which we stand, but also measured by the sand that's in our glass. It's getting short. According to a past report, released the 2018 year with 10 more, we fear the fear. And that catastrophic climate change, all life on Earth will disarrange. Although the point of no return appears so close, we could still learn. Complete breakdown we might avoid by ending tries to fill the void. Behind our question, why am I? Because there is no known reply. Our tries to fill the emptiness are causing all this climate mess. If we ignore the empty cup and end our ties to fill it up, we would at least change course today and start to head in nature's way. It's natural activity, the only way that we can be completely what she had in mind. Unique capacities we find by reaching our limits and to others in our human band while reaching out to nature's God. If we go back, we will applaud. Returning to the unity, we need to save humanity. However, we must act with haste. We have no further time to waste. One tries to answer vacant whys with each bit of nature dies. Holy shit! Now, that was doomy with a bit of hopium at the end. So we made it. We made it through. We made it through. Holy crap.
For many people, Memorial Day weekend is the unofficial...
We already saw that one. Take a breath. Take a breath. Okay, let's see what you guys are saying before we go. That was doom, but that was doom with hopium, right? And we all are doing things. Nobody ever says not to. I always say do things as much as we can do things. Yeah, take a breath while we still can. Oh, and I want to say thank you to Driftless Hermit. Excellent show last night with William Reese. Thanks for all you do. That's nice. Thank you very much. See, those are the things that touch my heart. Thank you very much. They do. Hi. It was poetry. And I can clip it. I can clip it. Hi. Hi, Karen. Ran to pop and see that NASCAR activism continues, going around and around. The revolution never ends and never goes anywhere. Enjoy the ride. It is what it is. Words, just words. It's nice to see you, Care. I think that's you. It could be Jordan. It could be Jordan. All right. Bella. Yep. I just really like this one. Take a breath while we still can. Yeah. Oh my God, what passion. I can't even leave the house half the time. Oh, you want a flush? Okay, we're going to do a flush. Let's do the late flush, and then I have things to do because it's an hour and 7 minutes, and I've got all kinds of plants, and while the sun is still up, I'm getting outside until it rains later. So we are going to flush Lee Zeldin, who is the biggest clueless fucking moron on the planet that is disassembling our beautiful EPA, which could have been such a much more wonderful organization, but bye. Yeah. There we go. All right, guys, I completely enjoyed the show. I hope I'll put the links in, and I will keep up with what's happening with Daniel Swain and their monster live stream that's supposed to go on for several days, which is great. We from Left Past 10 actually will be having an announcement pretty soon. There's some good things going on. I just want to stay good and healthy, and I want you all to stay healthy and try to be, no matter what we are going through or living through, we have things that are right in front of our noses that can make us happy. And friends, whether they be online friends or in the flesh, across the street, or whoever, we have each other until we don't. Right? So go off, do some gardening. Love you guys. Thank you. Really do. Thank you. Thank you.